Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage.
And I'm Deniz, the Buddymeister.
That's it? That's our whole intro.
Yes, it is. I have to make a phone call now. Bye.
Lazy Meister.
You're just a goddamn freaking dead phone! Ah!
Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage.
And I'm Deniz, the Buddymeister.
We have reviewed almost 500 indie movies on the channel, and today's one was once again picked directly for us by one of our awesome Masala Meister tier supporters. Actually, one of our longest supporters. Vijay Akineni has chosen the 2020 Tamil language horror mystery thriller Andhaghaaram, which translates to Darkness. It's the first film written and directed by Vignarajan, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, then it's your turn, Buddymeister.
Sorry, the movie starring Arjun Das, Vinod Kishan and Kumar Natarajan in the leading roles, with Pooja Ramachandran and Misha Ghoshal in supporting roles. Mm-hmm. The running time is 171 minutes.
Yeah, pretty long.
Just some info up front. And yeah, the movie was actually already shot and completed in 2014.
Yeah.
But no one was willing to distribute it because there were no famous faces, and they didn't think much of it. So,
which I think is totally crazy. I only read about it after I've watched the movie. When I watched it, I thought, this is probably the next big role for Arjun Das, because he was in Kaiti.
Yep.
He was kind of a standout in Kaiti. I think it was like his breakthrough. He has such a deep and memorable voice. So I thought, maybe after Kaiti they cast him in this one. But that this movie is already now almost 10 years old is kind of crazy.
It's really crazy. Yeah.
And I mean, the movie looks kind of expensive and well produced. So it's really bizarre that they got the money to shoot this, to make a 3-hour long movie, and then nobody was willing to distribute it. It's kind of crazy. And then, of course, it got released on Netflix. So I think no theatrical.
It gained momentum because of Kaiti. Like it said that the Arjun Das role in that movie, like kind of got this movie out, and it was released in November 2020. They originally wanted to show it in cinemas, but of course at that time there was the pandemic and lockdowns and no cinemas available. And so they released it on Netflix.
So first story or your first impressions?
Let's do the story first. Okay. So the story is like I copied it from somewhere online.
It's fine.
A dispirited cricket player, haunted by the voice of a man over his telephone, seeks help from a psychiatrist. But little does he know that he, the psychiatrist, and a visually challenged librarian share a connection that is beyond surreal.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
But that's missing like 1/3 of the movie because
I didn't want to tell because like it's of course it's a movie that like builds on your expecting nothing and like the whole mystery thing. So I just searched for something that doesn't tell us that much.
Going into this movie, I actually had no idea that this was a supernatural horror thriller. I thought it might be like a mystery police drama thriller, something like that. So I was really. It was a surprise to me that there are supernatural elements in this movie, and I actually liked how they are creeping into it from the beginning. Like the first hour, you don't really. It's could be the real world. It could be completely realistic. I mean, when you know about it, then the things happening in the black and white prologue, you know that there's something more going on there. But what do you think about the film?
Well, actually, the movie was quite short, to be honest. It was hard to get through the 3 hours.
Yeah.
Having said that, because you just said it. So the first hour or like 45 minutes or so are pretty okay. Yeah, because they're like very slow. There's very slow build up. We get to know this world. Of course, the characters aren't like the most profound or deep characters in my mind, but this like 45 minutes, they were fine, because like they were building all this mystery up, and things were starting to connect with time, and you thought to yourself, hey, wait a minute, they said something about 8 months ago something happened, and he failed 3 exams there, he failed 3 times this, some connections. You don't know at that point that if it makes sense in the end. Some things do, some things don't. But yeah, as a whole, it was a disappointment, to be honest, because it was, I think it's a bit generic after all. It's well made, it's well produced, it looks pretty cool, and some scenes are really shot very, very cool, very interesting, very creative. Yeah. Especially all that stuff with Arjun's character is what's his name? Vinod, yes. Yeah. In this apartment. Yeah. But we can go. We dive deeper. But let me hear you.
I mean, you say the first hour was okay. I think for the first half, maybe 70 minutes, 80 minutes, I think it's actually a pretty decent film. I think it's really able to create a quite dense and dark atmosphere, and I expected this to be a super cool, over the top, twist heavy movie. We have seen movies like that from India, and so I was kind of surprised how I'm not sure if down to earth is really the right word, but the presentation, like you said, is pretty good. I think it's actually pretty spectacular. I think this is one of the most slick and impressive looking films from India that I have seen. The cinematography was done by A.M. Edwin Sakai, and I think it's pretty spectacular. And also, I think the music is really good here. It was composed by Pradeep Kumar. And oftentimes music in movies like this can be a little bit too heavy-handed. And I think the score is really, really atmospheric. And I enjoyed it quite a bit. It's a movie, it's a mystery. It doesn't give you a whole lot of information. So you really need patience with this. There are barely any informations for the first hour. And that's quite challenging and difficult. And it can be frustrating. And about halfway through the movie, I was kind of not completely out of it, but it became too much. It was just barely any information. Like halfway into the movie, you're still kind of, what's going on here? What's really happening? How is everything connected? And it was intriguing at first, but then it's...
You pretty early on, maybe not early on, but... at the latest, like 1 hour into the movie, you get that this movie will probably be too long. Like you already get that. What are they trying to say? What is this all leading to? And like you said, it looks slick and everything. And I like the build up. All this the style. The style is so evident and so much out there that all the mystery was like more important than the actual story, which was to me felt like, because I was like, we have three stories that are interlinked here: the doctor, the cricketer, and the librarian. I always thought, especially at the end, I thought, well, you have three movies in there that would have probably been better just as standalone movies, because the ideas I didn't like this. I just didn't like this whole interconnecting thing, because I knew that the explanation at the end would probably be something like, okay, now we have to tell them something that makes sense. Yeah. And it's like, from the beginning, like you said, you know that this is some kind of twisty, turny movie. And I was disappointed in the end that it looks fine and they tell it fine, and it's a complex and like a bold movie, especially when it's your first movie that you make. Yeah. But it's like, it's like all up in the air in the end for me. Yeah.
Another positive, I think the performances are pretty good. Yeah. Even the doctor, what's his name? Dr. Indran.
Yes, that's Kumar Natarajan.
Kumar Natarajan. He's, of course, the most over-the-top element in the movie, because he had an accident or an attempted murder on his person, and so his voice is gone, and I think his voice is now also provided by Arjun Das.
I read that too.
Which is I didn't noticed
No,
watching it.
me neither.
But he has this super heavy, dark voice, and that's the most over the top. But still, I think Kumar Natarajan does a good job, and I think especially Arjun Das and also Vinod Kishan, I think they're all pretty good. So presentation is good, music is good, the atmosphere is fine, the performances are fine. But again, it's this storytelling. It's how we get our information, and we need information to follow this story and make sense of it. And I think we can go into spoilers to make this review more interesting. I think it's nice at first how it's interlinked, because then we early on we recognize that the psychiatrist or is psychiatrist? No.
Yeah, it says psychiatrist in the synopsis, but
we are talking about Pooja, right? Pooja Ramachandran, who plays Pooja. No. What does she do? What's her job?
Isn't she some like a nurse or something? Like she cares for
Yeah, I don't remember. But she's the she's a teacher, of course.
She's the teacher of the
takes the
librarian.
So that connection we get early on.
Yeah.
And then I was at least a little bit intrigued to see how it moves further. And then we get the first kind of twist that we have these 3 storylines, and we get the twist that one storyline is actually the time it takes place is in the past. So of course we assume at first that all these things are happening at the same time, but then we get the twist that one of those is in the past. And at first I was like, I don't like this too much, because the movie's already way too convoluted and way too complicated. Now we have to make sense of that. But then a little bit later we get a second twist, or maybe you got it immediately, but the other storyline is also taking place at a different time. So all 3 storylines are taking place at different times, which I think is a really cool and interesting concept. And I think it's also funny or interesting that this movie was already done in 2014, because Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk from 2000, I don't know, when did Dunkirk come out? 2018 maybe?
Dunkirk, I don't know. Yeah.
But Dunkirk, there's something similar. With there are also 3 different storylines, and they are doing something interesting with time, as Christopher Nolan loves to do. So I found it interesting that this movie, first I thought, maybe they got it from Dunkirk, but then, it was already shot in 2014. But
that spark really didn't catch fire with me. I just thought, it's that. I just thought, why can't you just tell this in a more linear way? Because the thing is, nothing against the non-linear way of telling a story, but it's like you have to like what did I write? What did I write down? It's like I don't know. Yeah, it's really random at times. You don't. So it's not like there's not behind every idea. It's not something that you can see the potential. And this director and the writers or the people who were involved obviously had a lot of ideas. You can see that it's all crammed in this movie. And just to tell it in a non-linear way because of the sake for it.
Yeah.
So it felt like this. It felt like this for me the whole time.
Yeah.
With all the mystery images, and then you see some flying birds and some chess pieces, and then the black and white and the shift in focus with the camera that doesn't make any sense because it's just mysterious. And then you get the non-linear storytelling. It's all just for the sake of being different. That's fine. That's all right. Yeah. I'm not saying that it's something you shouldn't or can't do, but it's like there has to be some meat to the story behind that to make you like feel this, not just for the atmosphere's sake.
I think they're just overdoing it. I don't have a problem with the concept, but there are some information that they just, why aren't we getting this information? It's not that these information would diminish our enjoyment of the movie. For example, Vinod gave this occult book to his best friend, who then became like wasn't able to speak anymore, totally absent all the time. And why not give us that information more clearly early on? Then we had some kind of connection to Vinod, why he has such a guilty conscience. I mean, after the movie, I watched the prologue again, the black and white prologue, because it's so cryptic, and when you first watch it, you don't really get anything from it. In that prologue is a shot where someone is giving this occult book to someone, and I think it's like a happy birthday, buddy, all the best, something like that. So it's in there, but in the product there are so many information, and you can't remember them for the remaining 3 hours.
Yeah.
And I think make it a little bit clearer.
Yeah.
Then, yeah. And also we have to talk about, it's a super cryptic movie. It's almost impenetrable at times. Yeah. But then once we get the twist, what's really going on, it's like, here's the full exposition. It's like it's like the villain is basically laying out his entire plan, and it's just,
we know that from movies, like when they get like to feel this pressure to, now we have to explain everything, and and then it's like let me just come back to the book thing. The book is something that's like, it's never explained. Why that book? What happened with that book? Why is it an occult book? What do you do with the book? They just say it's called Devil by Tolstoy, and I read about.
Yeah, but it's not. It's the book that the father of Selvam wrote, I think, because the father of Selvam.
So it's that book that he uses to like catch ghosts, and so the stuff that's copy from the other guy, like in the Braille language.
Yeah.
Okay. So I didn't get it. Okay,
it's all connected, but it's so they just give you all the information at the end.
Yeah.
And I think that really diminishes the effect of the entire thing, because I mean it's certainly a movie where people will probably tell us you have to watch it again.
Yeah.
And I totally get that with this movie, because with this movie, once you know everything, watching it again might be at least interesting.
Yeah.
But for that, it's just too long, too convoluted, it's not great enough that I would watch it again. And I think it's 3 hours long. I think if you would make it like a 2 hour tight mystery, supernatural horror movie, because there aren't that many horror movies from India. And I think it's always interesting to see a story like this, because the story is pretty... It's cool. I mean, the thing with the telephone.
Yeah. Like you said, the thing with the telephone, like when we talk about, because it's talked about the end, when they explain everything, and like, there's just you don't need like an answer for every mystery. Yeah, it's fine if you don't get all the answers to let something like in your mind when you leave the cinema or when the movie has stopped. But here it's like, we don't know why and how everything works like it works, and the solution in the end is like to dismantle the phone. That's the solution?
Yeah, it's pretty anticlimactic in the end.
What?
And we also, an element that I was baffled by is that, of course, our librarian, Selvam, he is murdered.
Yeah.
And I thought I paid attention watching this, but for me, for the longest time, I was asking myself, who were these goons?
Yeah,
they were behind,
like from this real estate guy.
Yeah, exactly. But it was like a little bit. I was confused for a lot of time with this movie.
Yeah.
But because of that, the ending where he's getting his revenge with the strangling. Totally, I didn't feel anything with that. It was like, okay, now he's murdering someone to get his revenge, was kind of out of character.
There's also this scene where Selvam, like, his spirit takes over Vinod on the bridge, so he can do that too. Why? How?
Yeah, the rules are. The rules
are. It's a bit random. Yeah. But I like that final scene where the scene itself is cool, where the phone kills that real estate guy. I thought that's a movie that I want to see.
But again,
killing phone.
Yeah, but again, the rules now it can.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But at that point, after 3 hours, I really didn't care anymore.
Yeah. So, anything else you want to say? I think I liked it more than you.
I think so too, yeah. but after talking, I have to say, to be honest, after talking now about it, it got a little bit better in my mind, because at times during this movie I really thought, woo, that's a movie that I really don't like. But
there were also some stretches where it turns almost into kind of a trailer.
Yeah.
There are like 2 or 3
these typical climax scenes that like build to something, but it doesn't add up to anything, because like there are like 2 or 3. I think there's a scene where Selvam is catching the ghost in the bottle.
Yeah.
And it's parallel edited with the scene with the Joker card scene.
Yeah.
And it's just random that these 2 scenes are parallel. They have nothing
there's a lot of parallel editing where I was wondering, why are we intercutting?
Yeah, it's not happening. Of course, there is not. The time aspect does play a role, but not in that case. And it doesn't Like there's no climax to these scenes. Like, ooh, hey, you have a Joker card every time, but it doesn't work.
The entire scene with the Joker, I think it's a really cool idea, but it's also kind of, do we need it in this
it's
movie?
Like bloated, it's like, whoa, what a scene, and it's okay. Yeah.
So, in the end, I can't really say that Andhaghaaram is a very good movie. I think it has a lot of potential, cool concept, presentation is really great.
Yeah.
I really like the music. I even listened to the background score of this movie again while doing some other work. But like I already said, I think a 2-hour long movie where we get more information earlier on and
bit tighter.
And So, do you have something in German for me?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's harsh.
Okay.
Andhaghaaram ist kein Totalausfall. Es gibt einige Aspekte, die mir gut gefallen haben, wie zum Beispiel der langsame Aufbau, die Schauspieler, einige schön gruselige Szenen, aber der Film ist viel zu lang, viel zu sehr mit seinem coolen Stil beschäftigt und letztendlich auch einfach zu generisch.
Okay. Andhaghaaram hat mich mit seiner düsteren Atmosphäre, der eindringlichen Kameraarbeit, schaurig-traurigen Musik und tollen Schauspielleistungen wirklich in seinen Bann gezogen. Irgendwann war das stark überzogene Mystery Gehabe aber einfach zu viel des Guten und die Auflösungen haben leider nicht den gewünschten Effekt.
So now I'm really
I'm not sure. I'm either a 5 or 6 out of 10. I think you are going with a 5 out of 10.
I'm going with a 5 out of 10. It's 5.1, but I don't do that.
Okay, then,
maybe 5.2, I don't know.
I liked it more. I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. It's more like 5.5, but I don't do that either. So you have any trivia this time around?
Yes. Did you know
that the movie was already done in 2014?
Yeah. Did you know that Braille, the language for the blind, Braille?
Okay.
Did you know that Braille takes up more space than the traditional alphabet? So Braille books are much larger than their print counterparts. For example, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire has 10 volumes in Braille. And the Webster's Unabridged Dictionary, 72 volumes.
Nice. Well, actually, pretty interesting trivia. Yeah. All right. Please let us know what you think about Andhaghaaram. You can hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and also on Patreon, simply at the Jimmy Cage.
And you can hit me up on Twitter at the Buddymeister.
And if you enjoyed this review, please give us a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like.
And make sure you hit that bell for all we have to tell.